From dropping over 100 S-bombs in the span of 20 minutes to poking fun at the easily irritable Church of Scientology, here are some South Park episodes that made fans furious. In the world of South Park, controversy is always in the air. And while the show is known for pushing boundaries, one episode managed to take it even further. In Season 5's It Hits the Fan, creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone had this genius idea. They noticed that profanity was seen as highbrow in serious shows, but lowbrow in their animated masterpiece. They went to Comedy Central and said, "Hey, what if we dropped the S-bomb, like 200 times?" The network probably choked on its coffee, but eventually caved in. And so, It Hits the Fan was born. And boy, did the episode ruffle some feathers. Angry emails poured in from the usual suspects, the censorship groups who are always ready to be offended. They couldn't handle the onslaught of foul language, and they made sure everyone knew it. But hey, it's South Park we're talking about here. Did they really expect it to be a poetry recital? Critics actually praised the episode for challenging the absurdity of censorship and questioning the arbitrary nature of what's deemed acceptable on TV. But there was another episode that was so unacceptable it got banned. I'm talking about proper condom use in this episode. South Park fearlessly waded into the highly controversial waters of sex education in schools. Parents who can't handle the birds and the bees conversation, so they pawn off the responsibility onto the teachers. Well, surprise, surprise, those educators turn out to be about as helpful as a gold-plated trash bag. Cue chaos, confusion, and an all-out war between the boys and the girls. But the real commotion began when Mr. Garrison decided to give a rather graphic demonstration of condom usage with his mouth. Yikes. The British channel Sky One couldn't handle the heat and promptly banned the episode for its explicit sexual content and violence. Comedy Central, ever the party pooper, even forced Parker and Stone to chop off some parts before it hit the airwaves. Guess they weren't ready for Mr. Garrison's unconventional teaching methods. Beyond all the raunchiness, proper condom use managed to sneak in an important message. It highlighted the struggles kids face when it comes to accessing accurate information about sex and contraception. Sure, it was wrapped in a package of outrageousness, but South Park knows how to make a point amid all the madness. This isn't the only episode that got banned. There was another one which landed them in hot water with China. In this episode, Cartman and his ragtag gang decide to form a rock band. But hold on tight because the road to rock stardom takes an unexpected turn when they encounter the grip of Chinese censorship. This episode parodies the entertainment industry's unfortunate tendency to bend over backward to please Chinese censors, all in pursuit of that juicy Chinese market. Parker and Stone skillfully skewer companies like Disney, who have faced accusations of compromising their values to maintain their lucrative business relationships with China. Now, it's no secret that South Park thrives on pushing boundaries, and this episode is no exception. With their signature blend of satire and absurdity, Parker and Stone managed to explore the intricacies of Mormonism while leaving no joke unturned. Some found it hilarious, while others, well, let's just say they weren't laughing. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints wasn't too thrilled with the episode's irreverent take on their religious beliefs. In a statement, they declared it gross. Ouch! It's safe to say they didn't see eye to eye with Parker and Stone's comedic vision. South Park loves pushing buttons, and there's no better example than when they tackled one of society's most sensitive and loaded words. In With Apologies to Jesse Jackson, things take an unexpected turn when Stan's dad, Randy, unwittingly utters the unfiltered N-word on national television. It all begins innocently enough on Wheel of Fortune, but when Randy misinterprets the category people who annoy you, the word takes center stage. The fallout sees Randy become a pariah, ridiculed and despised as the N-word guy. The episode's heavy usage of the word grabbed headlines and ignited debates about the boundaries of satire and social commentary. The word ended up being used 43 times. Critics like the Parents Television Council were quick to condemn the episode, accusing it of racism and calling out supporters of the show for hypocrisy. But many viewers saw the larger message within the episode. The co-founders of the group Abolish the N-Word emphasized the show's importance, saying it was highlighting the power of this word and how it feels to have hate language directed at you. And although South Park loves taking on sensitive issues, it truly gets hilarious when it takes on celebrities. such as in Scott Tenorman Must Die. This episode revolves around the epic rivalry between Cartman and the unfortunate Scott Tenorman, who mistakenly gets on Cartman's bad side. Then Scott sells Cartman a handful of pubes, promising it will kickstart his puberty. Little did he know that act would ignite a fiery vendetta. The feud between Scott and Cartman spirals out of control. The episode reaches its gruesome climax when Cartman kills Scott's parents and serves them to him before indulging in a taste of victory, licking the teen's tears in celebration. While fans reveled in the dark and twisted humor, the creators, Matt and Trey, weren't without their own concerns. They deliberated over whether to delve into such territory. After all, having a kid, no matter how sociopathic, serve another kid, his own parents, is undeniably heavy material. But the risk paid off, as the episode became a cherished favorite among critics and fans alike. And they took on another celebrity in Jared Has AIDS. In this episode, Trey and Matt set their sights on the infamous Subway weight loss campaign featuring the one and only Jared Fogle. As Jared's Subway commercials flooded our screens, some critics couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at the association between sandwiches and shedding pounds. Trey and Matt decided to give their own spin to the story. They crafted a narrative where Jared's weight loss secret is mistakenly heard by the South Park kids as AIDS. Subway corporate didn't find the humor quite as appetizing. They swiftly distanced themselves from the content, issuing a press statement to ensure everyone knew they had nothing to do with it. Little did they know that fate had a cruel twist in store for poor Jared Fogle. Let's just say his personal life took a very unexpected turn, and the world learned some information I'd rather not mention today. But sometimes taking on celebs doesn't go too well for Matt and Trey. There's no better example of that than Hell on Earth 2006. In this episode, South Park takes a swing at its fair share of sacred cows, and unfortunately, wildlife expert Steve Irwin found himself in the line of fire. Less than 2 months after Irwin's tragic death, the show unleashed a brief, shocking gag. It featured him as an unexpected guest at Satan's Halloween costume party, complete with a stingray barb still intact. When Satan realizes Irwin isn't in costume, the croc hunter gets the boot, joining the ranks of party guests like George Burns and Gandhi. The backlash was swift and ferocious. Friends of the Irwin family voiced their disapproval, calling the episode distasteful, and complained about the impact it could have on Irwin's children. It's a reminder that even in the world of satire, lines can be crossed and sensitivities can be wounded. Speaking of hurting sensitivities, in the episode Trapped in the Closet, the show doesn't hold back in its critique of the world's most infamous church. When Stan discovers that he's the reincarnation of Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard, things take a wild turn as the episode delves into the strange beliefs of the religion, including the infamous alien Xenu and those wacky characters. The episode didn't just ruffle feathers in the Church of Scientology, it also caused quite the stir in Hollywood. Isaac Hayes, the legendary voice of Chef, who had previously been cool with the show's mockery of Christianity, didn't take too kindly to their biting satire on Scientology. He decided to part ways with South Park, citing religious tolerance and stating that satire has its limits. The controversy even had some speculating that the church had a hand in Hayes' departure, although his son disputed those claims. So from making fun of the Church of Scientology to dropping the S-bomb over 100 times, these were South Park episodes that made fans furious.